Hey y'all, I am back with a video reading. So this is a special request from Tasha. So Tasha paid for a phone reading, but she wanted me to convert it into a video reading and upload it to YouTube because she wants anybody who could benefit from this reading to gain some insight. So let me get into Tasha's question, and then I'm going to get into the cards that I pulled for this question and also look at her chart. So here you go, Tasha. So I'm going to talk to you directly. So, Tasha, this is your reading. Thank you for coming to me and trusting in my services. All right. So let's get into your question. So you said, so my issue is that it's really hard for me to get motivated by anything. I don't remember the last time I had any excitement for life. In parentheses, you wrote, I'm not sad, suicidal, or anything like that. I guess I'm just existing and not living. I don't like change or to explore. I don't really have any special hobbies or interests. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel very stagnant. My boyfriend, he's a Cancer, and I were having a deep conversation, and he is concerned and thinks I might be depressed. We also talked about marriage, and he was trying to pick my brain to see where this relationship is going and what I want out of life. We've been together for 15 years with one child. He understands my struggles and issues I dealt with in the past and always trying to uplift and encourage me to not be a victim of my circumstances. I've never noticed until recently that I have a habit of self sabotaging for no reason, even if things are going well. Now, let me just stop right here before I read on and just say the self sabotage is partly coming from the fact that you're a 25 in terms of your birth number. So that 25 can deal with self sabotage. Basically, your whole numerology with your birth number of 25 and your life path number of 31, that's rather difficult, especially in terms of finding your place in the world. A lot of times you may not feel like you're fully in this world or even of this world. So let me read on. So you said, I've never noticed until recently that I have a habit of self sabotaging for no reason, even if things are going well. For example, I have done this with relationships, jobs, my health. It's so easy for me to lose interest. Then it starts cycle of me feeling like I'm stuck because nothing is moving forward in my life, even though it's from my own doing. So I guess I would like to know how I can stop these behaviors and be the best version of myself. So the cards that I pulled for you are, well, first, I pulled a four card spread, which is one of the favorite spreads that I love. It's my go to spread. So the cards are, card number one is the situation, card number two is the challenge, card number three is the advice, and card number four is the outcome. So card number one, we got the Empress, and that's just dealing with you living your life, but you yearning for something more, yearning for more meaning, more productivity. Because, like I was explaining to one of my tarot students today, I was like, that Empress card is a card of productivity. So you need something to live for, basically. Now, that challenge is the Nine of Swords. So that's basically you being plagued with all these thoughts about you don't have any interest, you're feeling stagnant, you're feeling like you lack direction, you feel like you're stuck, all that type of stuff. So that's showing that you're in a bit of mental turmoil. And then that can also show the conversations that you're having with your Cancer boyfriend. And you might feel like he's kind of pressing on you a bit too much to like get over this hump that you're experiencing before you're even ready, before you even know how to get over this hump. So he might be part of the issue as well. I'm not saying he's a negative influence. I'm just saying he might be part of what's making you feel like that Nine of Swords right now. So, and he might not even be able to come up with a solution. He might just be saying, like you said, let me go back to this. He understands my struggles and issues I dealt with in the past and always tries to uplift and encourage me to not be a victim of my circumstances. Right. But it's like, it's easier said than done. So I totally get you about, this feeling, especially again, you being a 25, being a Scorpio, it's not easy to just move beyond, certain, you know, stages in your life until the right time, until the right things are in place. So the advice card is the High Priestess. So that High Priestess is basically telling you about those numbers that you've been born with. So again, you're born with that 25, born on the 25th. That breaks down to 7. That's very indicative of High Priestess energy. Going within, being more spiritual, getting in touch with the spiritual side of yourself, really casting aside a lot of the concerns of the material world. And I'm not saying, quit your job and just go hiking and like just be one of those travelers and stuff with no type of aim in life. I'm not saying that. But your aim in life and your purpose should center around something dealing with spirituality. So I'm going to be looking at your chart. I'm going to see if it matches up with the cards. But of course it will, because cards and the chart, they always work hand in hand. So, High Priestess, this is about you going within, withdrawing from the outside world, which is very much 25/7 and even 31/4. 31 is the hermit, recluse. So, it's saying that basically, if you try to live too much in the outside world, a lot of times you're not going to be fulfilled. A lot of times you're not going to feel like you belong. Sometimes you're going to feel alienated or feel like just the odd one out. Sometimes it will feel like you're not even in touch with who you are. So let's get into your chart. So going back to your question, so you said, so I guess I would like to know how I can stop these behaviors and be the best version of myself. I was also explaining to my student about that High Priestess card that if you notice, like the color of her face, and I'm talking about the Rider-Waite version, because there's different versions of tarot cards, but in the Rider-Waite version, if you look at the High Priestess, her skin color is sort of blending in with the cloth that's behind her. And I said, that's like representing you, you're stepping away from the ego. You're blending in with the universal flow. You're tapping into that energy so much that you as your individual self really doesn't matter. So that means, and I was just saying, like, to be a good psychic reader, you can't have this huge ego. And I was saying you can't be biased. You really have to be neutral, being in between those two pillars, just like the High Priestess, the black pillar, the white pillar, good and evil. You got to be in between, be neutral and blend in, like allow yourself to become immersed in that psychic energy. So you got some psychic gifts that you need to bring to the forefront. Now you also, I forgot to mention that outcome card, which is the moon. So that moon, that's psychic energy, but that's also just saying you're going to be transitioning into a different phase in your life. You're going to be becoming someone else. It's still who you are, but it's someone inside of you that has yet to be brought out, which is why you you're getting this reading right now, because part of my purpose is to help you to bring this other person out. So that moon can deal with having two sides of yourself, and one side is not really being given attention, being acknowledged, or being valued. So again, if we go back to that High Priestess card, it's that spiritual side. I won't be surprised if you got some planet at the 18th degree in your chart. So now I'm gonna pull up your chart and I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So I don't see the 18th degree, but I do see the 9th degree. Now the 9th degree can be a spiritual number, spiritual degree. That's if you're able to rise above the enticements of the flesh and just the lower vibrational state of human existence. So you got that South Node in Scorpio. That's a really tough South Node to have. And that South Node in Scorpio can result in a sense of futility, especially since it's conjoined to Pluto right here. And it's in the 12th house, which just makes things even worse. I mean, I'm not trying to make things sound really bleak for you. I'm just trying to explain to you why you just feel this sense of like you can't move forward and you really don't have any interest and you really don't have any aims in life and you self sabotage. So that 12th house energy, that's like that 25 breaks down to 7. That's like Pisces 12th house, like Neptune, self sabotage. So your sun being conjoined to Pluto and that south node, there it is right there, the south node. I mean, there it is right there, the self-sabotage. So it's going to be very hard to overcome that. And that's one thing your Cancer man don't understand it. That's what I was talking about. He's saying, he thinks that just talking to you and, you know, being that shoulder to cry on and that's a good thing. But and it could have to do also that he's a man, and a lot of times men, they just want you to hurry up and get over things and move forward. But with that energy you're dealing with, it's not easy to move forward. You also got Saturn in your first house, and that can make you, really hard on yourself. And where you just feel this sense of heaviness, like you're being weighed down. It could be weighed down by the concerns of others, could be weighed down by the amount of debt you might be carrying, because we're talking about Scorpio energy, or it could just be weighed down even by spiritual forces. Now you got all that Scorpio energy, and if you're not doing something with it, it's a damn shame. But I understand why you're not doing something with it. Again, because of that south node conjoined to Pluto. Again, that can cause you to give yourself over to a sense of futility, as if you don't have any free will, especially because the sun is involved. That sun is your free will. It's in the 12th house. 12th house is antithetical to free will. That's the house of confinement, the house of imprisonment, the house of uh which I don't want to say the loony bin, but psychological problems, mental health problems. Not saying that you have that, but you could attract people in your life that do. And maybe this is a sign that that's part of your purpose, is to help people who are going through mental health problems or family crisis, trauma. Um, Definitely seeing where you part of your purpose is to help people to overcome certain traumas and difficulties that they have endured in life. A lot of emotional turmoil. You have that Pisces moon, which makes you very empathic, very compassionate, very sensitive, charitable. So if you're not doing anything, I'm almost kind of taken aback that you ain't doing stuff with this energy. But again, I understand why. But you also got that T square that's making things hard too. That T square between Mars, Neptune, and that moon. That's another one that can make you feel like you don't have any choice in the matter or no control over your life. And it can make you give up easily, especially that Mars square Neptune. That's another aspect that's dealing with the self sabotage again. So you got it pretty bad, pretty bad. And that could also deal with your Cancer man too, because Mars is dealing with the type of man you attract. So that Mars square Neptune could deal with your man's not really being realistic about the energy, the issues that you're dealing with. And after a while, he might lose his patience with you. So, but if so, so be it. But then you got Jupiter and Aquarius squaring your nodes. And like I was saying in my live stream about Aquarius, Aquarius is a very depersonalized sign. So oftentimes Aquarius is not sure what they want unless they have other planets that are counteracting that whole uncertainty, that whole unknown, that whole, it is whatever random type shit. So that Jupiter is not helping you out either, because that's completing a T square involving South Node, Pluto, Sun, got the North Node. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but if you take yourself out of the equation, so to speak, and you can see that through that grand trine, got a grand trine between Jupiter, Venus, and Chiron. And that's basically you taking yourself out of the equation, your personal self, the ego side of yourself. When you got your sun in the 12th house, you really cannot live for yourself, or you are going to be constantly disappointed. You're not going to be fulfilled. That 12th house, you're carrying a heavy responsibility. And I was saying that in another live stream about Virgo and Pisces, also the sixth house, 12th house. Those are the signs that bring up the rear. So you're given a higher responsibility than other signs or placements in which your sun being in the 12th house. And you got moon in Pisces too. That's showing that you're called for a higher purpose. You're called to live more so of a spiritual life, high priestess, than a material life. The more you try to deal with material concerns, I'm pretty sure your Cancer man is on the material. He's probably too material. Looking at Taurus on the 7th, basically showing your partner he's really, attached to that material existence and material gain. And again, I'm not saying quit your job and become some gypsy or some wanderer. No, you're called to help people who have been traumatized in some way, called to help people who are going through some type of pain, turmoil, abuse, survivors of abuse, things like that. So if you want more insight, I suggest you get a natal chart reading. You can either get one by video or you could get one by written or video. It's up to you. So yeah, because you really need to understand how this energy is inhibiting you and how you can overcome it. And again, the answer is through that grand trine. Venus trine Jupiter, Jupiter trine Chiron, Chiron trine Venus. That's a grand trine, air grand trine, which is good for doing things on a human services level, like helping out on some humanitarian level, even though that term is so cliche. But you could say you're going to be doing something maybe within your local community because Jupiter's in that third house. Doing something on the activist end because Jupiter's in Aquarius. Doing something that helps out women in particular because Venus is involved. And then with that Chiron and Gemini, that could deal with, public speaking, speeches that you're giving, classes that you are teaching, helping people again to helping to uplift people and to gain more knowledge or access to resources, things like that. So again, the whole thing is you got to take yourself out of the equation. You got to live for others rather than living for yourself. And I don't mean where you become this doormat for people and you become this person that's making these empty sacrifices for other people. No, instead, you have to do things that you're going to find personally gratifying and meaningful. You do got that moon in your fourth house, but where it's helping others, you're helping to uplift others, you're helping to better the lives of others, and especially people that are abused in some way, survivors of abuse, those who have been downtrodden, the throwaways, quote unquote, throwaways of society. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, you've been called for a higher purpose. That's that high priestess, what I was talking about. And it's very clear in your chart with that 12th house energy, even having being a Scorpio rising with Saturn in your first house. So yeah, see how you can help serve others at your Mars in Virgo to the best of your ability. That Mars opposition moon, that could deal with where you're helping certain people gain access to affordable housing, or you're helping refugees, you're helping homeless people or whatever like that. So yeah, think about what you can do to really contribute to making this world a better place. And we need people like you more than ever. So I wish you well. And again, I recommend you get a natal chart reading, or you might just want to get, a phone reading or whatever like that, another one, so I could really break things down. But I suggest a natal chart reading because then it will make everything make sense. All right. So I hope that I helped you to gain some insight. And if anybody would like a reading, you could go to my website at Rahbinah.com and I will be at your service. Stay tuned for a live stream coming this Thursday night. My Patreon is on deck. I'm about to launch it either tonight or tomorrow. So stay tuned for the notification. All right. Peace, many blessings. I'm out.